Good evening. First tonight, we can reveal that homelessness teams have helped well over 1,000 rough sleepers across our 3 cities in the last year. They're being offered accommodation or tickets home, as well as treatment for drug addiction.
A national rough sleeping initiative is spending more than £1 million in Derby, Leicester and Nottingham this year. But some people hooked on cheap drugs are refusing to accept their help. This special report from our social affairs correspondent, Jeremy Ball.
We're just going to move your blanket slightly to check you're all right, OK?
Out in the cold and the wet and the dark, human beings who've run out of hope.
Hiya.
We're joining Kim and Martin on Framework's outreach patrol. They'll try to help this young couple find accommodation. But this man says he doesn't want their help. He's discharged himself from hospital.
We know he's not very well, we know him. So I thought if I get him something to drink and something to eat, it might give us a chance to have a proper conversation. So I'll try it.
How often do you do that?
Too often. Hey, Hope, I've got you a drink.
We don't give up on him, but there's always an option that we can do something, we can refer him somewhere.
Simon says he was evicted by a council outside Nottingham, so they'll try to get him rehoused there.
I've been sleeping outside the castle because I'm king of the castle. King of the castle, guys. I've got drug problems because I'm trying to self-medicate, do you know what I mean? It's not nice out on the streets, but at the end of the day, I can't do nothing about it. Outreach, I reckon outreach is my only hope.
That outreach starts at 5 a.m. every night of the year. They're checking everywhere from shop fronts to bins and sheds. One man was in a tree in a hammock. Car parks like this one are popular too.
Obviously they're warmer, a bit warmer and drier, but you do get plugs in car parks as well, so you'll often find people sleeping directly under the plug so that they can charge their phones overnight.
But getting people off the streets isn't always straightforward. Some rough sleepers aren't entitled to housing because they're from out of town. And here there's a couple sleeping in bushes surrounded by drug needles. They've been evicted from a night shelter after taking Mamba.
The shelter won't have wanted to do that, but you can't put everybody else at risk, and the volunteers and the staff there, it's a really tricky one to handle because Mamba can be so unpredictable as well. We're just checking you're all right, we're not moving you or anything.
And this man walked out of drug treatment. They think he's seriously ill.
You OK?
That guy was on Mamba. How worried are you that he's going to die on the streets?
Very worried.
What we find a lot is that people will express that they feel very unwell, but won't go to the hospital or won't go and see a doctor. All right.
We've just found another couple of people here sheltering, as you can see, at the top of these stairs. And this is the City Council headquarters.
Seriously? It is upsetting, and you know what? It's not her fault. She had needles down the side there, and she's clearly been smoking Mamba, mental health issues. Yeah,
Tough for you to deal with that.
It is tough, yeah, it is tough. And it's tough because all you really want to do is get them the right help, but if someone is that angry with you and that upset with you, you can't push them.
Never leave home without it.
And for Colin, rough sleeping has become a way of life.
I've been in and out of supported housing, hostels, a place called Men's Complex Needs, where you have to have 2 or more complex needs to get in, but then get kicked out for being too complex. Sometimes when I'm in a room, I feel like, you know, like on films when you see like tombs closing in, I feel like I'm getting crushed. I've woke up screaming and everything. I smile about it, I shouldn't, but I woke up screaming and everything.
The outreach teams are trying to put that right, and now Kim's using her dog, Tinto, to build a connection that helps people on the streets of Nottingham to start mending their broken lives.
Well, Jeremy's back here in the studio now, and do we know how many people are sleeping rough?
Well, Simon, there's an official count every year. Now, the last one found 91 people on the streets across Derby, Leicester and Nottingham. But that is just for one single night. So we've asked how many individuals they helped over the whole of last year. Here's that figure for Derby, 256 rough sleepers. In Leicester, they found 184 people out on the streets. And in Nottingham, Framework's outreach team helped 684 rough sleepers. So all in all, well over 1,000 across last year.
That's frightening numbers, Jeremy. How can the outreach people actually help them then?
Well, for some it's simply finding a night shelter where they can look for more permanent housing. For others it's about getting treatment for drugs or other mental health problems. And now they're working with a range of agencies funded by the government's Rough Sleeping initiative. Now that's allocated £1.1 million this year across Derby, Leicester and Nottingham. That's helped to pay for extra outreach services, for a range of different night shelters, and people with so-called complex needs are getting more specialist support too.
And will that be enough to keep people off the streets?
Well, this is all part of a bigger push to tackle homelessness. Our cities are also getting money to find some of these people permanent homes, and the government's convinced that this is keeping the numbers down. I have, though, spoken to several charities in Nottingham who deal with this. The sense I get from them, they still can't keep up with demand as new rough sleepers end up on the streets. So watch for the results of that next official count.